Hello, everybody. We're going to spend about 20 or 30 minutes here. I'm going to be explaining a couple of things to you. But I'm Randall Baxter, and I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. And to be honest with you, I'm really excited that you're here. And I hope everything's going well for you. We've just experienced a major snowstorm here in Tennessee. But just a quick note, I understand that this whole group thing is just not real personable. But in short, it's the quickest way for us to get or for you to get a full understanding of the offer that I'm about to make to you. And it's a very, very exciting offer, I think, and it could really change your life if you wanted to. But if you're in a sales leadership role or want to be in one, or just want to be a rocking superstar on your own, get ready for what I'm about to tell you. So, for a little clarity today, I'm not going to be asking you any questions. I'm not interviewing you in this. You will have an opportunity to ask me questions. So I'll be the one that's being interviewed. So, but during the next 20 minutes, I'm going to try to paint a picture from A to Z of the opportunity, along with why I think it's one of the best careers available in the financial services industry. And from there, we can finish up any questions that you might have. And assuming you like what you hear, and to be honest with you, I think you're going to like what you hear. We can take the next steps in a one-on-one meeting if you want to schedule one. So my whole purpose in this process is for you to say, yes, I need to speak to either Randall Baxter or Greg Davis or Jay, depending on how much time we have for each other. And we want a one-on-one interview with you if you like what you have to hear today. So at the end of this meeting, you'll be getting a link that says, yes, I want to schedule that one-on-one, and you'll be able to go to my calendar and schedule it if you want to. So I'm excited that you're here. I'll be honest with you. I love what I do. I'm not going to be offering you something that I don't do every day. Okay. So I'm a financial services person just like you. I get up every morning, I go to work. I just happen to enjoy teaching people about this smooth, easy process that I use that makes me a lot of money. It helps my clients and all my students that follow the teachings that I provide. They make a lot of money too. So that's the first thing. I would like to get a little quick thing if you can go into your chat and just maybe tell me what city you're in. The marketing part of this section that we're doing is Atlanta, Chattanooga, Nashville, and Knoxville. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'll tell you right now, I have 140 licensees across the nation. I have in Hawaii and Alaska, Texas, Florida, Maine, Illinois, all over the country, Arizona, Nebraska, Georgia, everywhere. Okay. But right now I'm focusing on this region right now because this is the region that I live in, and I realize that what the huge shortage is of good estate planners is in this area. So that's the first thing. It's almost a cliche to talk about company culture. So I want to talk about that just a minute. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he said the reason I want to start a new profession is because the people who hired me made me promises, and then they didn't give me what they promised. And I kept wanting to say something, but I didn't. So I want you to know about my company culture. In my company culture, I believe that you design who you are and what you want to be. And I also believe that if I understand what that is, I'll be able to coach you or train you and or coach you, because I believe there's a difference between training and coaching. I'll be able to get you there. If you tell me, hey, I want to be an independent sole proprietor, one man show that makes a lot of money, then I can show you how to do that through estate planning. But if you want to be a multi-person agency with 3 or 4 assistants and 5 or 6 trainable people coming in all the time and working with maybe 10 or 12 or 15 different estate plans a week, I can show you how to do that. That's what we do. Okay. So just be aware that if you decide to be trained and coached by Randy Baxter at Asset Positioning Services, you're going to be getting trained and coached from somebody who does what he's training and does what he's coaching. And I chose that path for myself. And if you say this is the path I want to take, I want to be that one man show. I'm going to say, okay, let's make the best of it, and let's show you how to be a one man show. So whatever direction you want to go in is going to be okay. So um, there's a couple of things right here I want you to look at. Uh, Again, we're just talking about our company culture. Our mission, my mission, is to help financial services people add estate planning to their product and service portfolio. And my vision there is if I can show you how to do that, I know that that's going to lead you to what I call the front end sale. And I know that if you do the front end sale correctly, it's going to lead you to the back end sale. And if you do the back end sale correctly, it will lead you to what I call all future sales with that client for the rest of your career or for the rest of their lives. And it'll be mostly because you're the person that helped them make the decisions about their estate plan. And people ask me all the time, well, am I properly licensed to do that? If you're in the financial services business, life insurance or whatever, what happens if you don't talk to people about the proper beneficiaries? And what happens if something happens to them and they think, well, maybe you should have told me about that? Okay, so our mission is to find as many estate planners as we can get in the United States. I know that there's room for about 150,000 of them. Now there is. It's huge, and a lot of it was brought on by COVID, and people realize that they are vulnerable, and they realize that if they caught themselves on a table in the hospital in a coma, and the doctor didn't think they were going to survive, the question is, do they have the paperwork that they needed to make it easy for their family members to talk to that doctor? Do they have the paperwork that they needed to make it easy to talk to your banker, your stockbroker, your insurance agent? And if you didn't get out of that hospital, did you have the proper paperwork to distribute what you've worked for all your life to the people that you love the most? So what I'm going to do is just teach you an industry pitch, if you want to call it that. Let's just call it that. Uh, in our industry, I started out as an insurance agent. I started out as a school teacher. But then I went into the insurance business with New York Life Insurance Company, selling life insurance policies because that's what New York Life told me to sell. That's what they taught me to sell. And they called it a sales career. Okay, it was actually, and I love New York Life, and I still own one of my New York Life policies. I've had it for 40 years. But in my sales career, what I learned a lot from one older broker when I was a younger man, he looked at me and he said, Randy, you spend all your time trying to get people to buy the New York Life logo with the New York Life products. And he said, why don't you do this? Why don't you just help them find what they need? And it was just like a big light bulb went off because New York Life only had about 13 or 14 products at the time. And a lot of times people would not need those products, and I wouldn't have a sale because I had to represent that one product line. I left that industry. I left I'm going to represent the company, and I entered, I'm going to represent the client. And I'm going to find out what the client wants or needs. And I call it, I've got a sales presentation I'm going to introduce you all to. It's called Family Tree Asset Positioning. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and through my family tree asset positioning, I'm going to be able to because I'm going to be aware of the family dynamics that they have in their life, I'm going to be able to make a proper diagnosis of the products that they need. And they're going to help me make that decision. And then I'm going to make, it's like a doctor, I'm going to be able to write the right prescription. And when that happens, when that happens, I don't know how to say this to you, but it kind of puts me in the sweet spot. Because if I have done an estate plan for someone, when they have an asset change or a relationship change or a health change, They don't call their insurance agent. They don't call their attorney. They don't call their CPA. In most cases, they will call the person who helped them establish the estate plan first. I call that dibs. When you were kids, did you ever call dibs? You get dibs on every one of your clients when they have a relationship change. You get, they're going to call you and say, "Hey, I just got a job down in Georgia and I got to leave Tennessee. I need paperwork for Georgia now instead of Tennessee." And at the same time, I'm going to go, "You know what? You're probably leaving your 401k too, aren't you?" And they'll go, "Yeah." And I'll say, "Well, maybe we got to talk about that too." So you get all these other products coming in. But anything that, if you're out there wondering about my company, I want to tell you something that's unique about my company. And it's something I love about my company. We don't only provide you with the right software to do a proper estate plan, but my staff and we teach you how to use it. And the most important thing is we teach you how to sell it. Because you can go out and buy estate planning software almost anywhere in the country. And some of the IMOs will say use our software, but they're not teaching you how to sell it. So I have one approach, and Mr. Satterfield, I'm looking at your picture right now. I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. That is the only approach you need to use that opens the door to all financial services products. And if people say, "Why do you think I'm going to benefit?" The only thing I need to teach you to say is because, Mr. Satterfield, if you have that conversation with me, you're probably going to learn something you weren't aware of. That magical. That magical. And people don't tell you no when you do that. So not only do we teach you how to use the software, we also teach you how to sell it. So now that is the approach. That's not selling it. That's just the approach that takes your suspect, the person that you think would benefit from a conversation with you about your estate plan, and turns them into a prospect, which is somebody who's willing to talk to you about their estate plan on a favorable basis. And once you get to that point, that's when you insert the sales presentation, the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview that I'm going to offer to teach you all. I'm not going to teach it to you today. I don't have time, but I will teach you that presentation. My average back-end commission is between $5,000 and $20,000 every time. A lot of times it's even more than that. So I'm going to show you a front-end sale where you might make $1,200 and a friend with your clients, because especially the healthiest spouse, they're going to be so happy that you engage them in that conversation so that they can have the conversation that they need to have, that they didn't know how to have, without paying an attorney, or without driving downtown and going up on the fourth floor of a big building and paying the attorney whether they bought it or not, and then paying the attorney every time they go back in there with questions, every time they have a relationship change, every time they have an asset change, every time they have a health change. You get a bill. In our software, you don't have to do that. So anyway, you might have a question: how do these products and services make a big impact in the marketplace? Well, our products create a huge impact on your sales funnel, because if you add estate planning, you get to go back to every client that you have done business with in the past and have a conversation with them that they might benefit from if they have with you. You don't know if they're going to benefit or not, but how are you going to know if you don't talk to them about it? But you may run into somebody that's got an estate plan already. So let me talk to you about that real quick. If we took 10 people in this room and asked them if they had an estate plan, 5 of them would say no, which means they do. It's called probate court. We call that the government plan. But the other 5, they're either going to have a will or a trust. And did you know that 80% of those 5 that have a will or a trust don't understand it, or are not happy with it, or have had a relationship change or an asset change or a health change that makes them want to discuss it? And our software will let you go in and restate an existing trust. So you don't have to worry about it. If somebody says, "Oh, I have one already," you go, "Great, maybe we got to be sure it's properly funded." So there's, you know, we teach you all those things that every time my biggest problem in my career is I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do because I've got my momentum built up. And sometimes I have to just wait on my phone to ring, and it rings all day long. That's the problem some people in financial services business wish they had, is their phone ring. Well, if you're an estate planner, your phone will ring. I promise you, it will ring, and I'll teach you how to be a good one, and I'll teach you how to build your momentum. So, so you know, if you schedule a one-on-one with me, and you want testimonials, I'll send you a list of all the agents that we have. I've got one agent that made $700,000 in his first 6 months, and he's been with me 8 months, and now he's sitting on about $1.2 million in commissions because he decided to go talk to his clients and say, "I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan." But but he had to know the rest of it. He had to know the sales presentation. So what's unique about this industry right now is it's missing. It has a missing link. Everybody's out trying to sell products. I teach people to do a process. And if you follow that process, it will lead you to all products that you are licensed to sell. All at the right time with the proper diagnosis. And your products will become the prescription if it solves the problem. So anyway, the financial services industry leads it to a high secure income if you do it correctly. And I'm just going to submit to you that if you have the right mentors and if you have the right product consultants, and I'm not trying to recruit you. I don't ask any of my financial services people to move their contracts. I just want to teach you how to do estate planning. And if you need to meet people who are good consultants, I'll introduce you to them. I'll introduce you to the ones I use. I don't work for them. If you want to meet them, great. If you don't want to meet them, that's good. It's okay, because I believe that you will write your own ticket. If you are an independent business person, you will tell me who it is you want to become, and I will do my best to show you what I know that'll help you get there quicker. And that's what my primary promise to you. So anyway, my company, it's Asset Positioning Services. That's exactly what we do. We move people's money around and get it where I call it finding their true purpose for money. I have been very accomplished at it. I've been in business over 40 years. Uh, uh, I'm not going to say I'm at the sunset of my career, but I'm happy uh, uh, coasting in at $400,000 or $600,000 a year in commissions after expenses. So but if you want to make $1 million, I'll show you how to do that. But I like the back end sale, but my primary income is from the future sales, things that happen to people after I have that conversation with them. So I can teach you how to do it strategically. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I'll teach you how to do it not using any money. Or if you want to do it a little faster, I'll show you how to spend a little money and make it happen. But if you look at me and say, I don't have a lot of money to spend it, I'm going to say, okay, let's start at that point and let me teach you how to grow from there. If you say, no, I've got some money, I want to go a little faster, I'll say, okay, you might want to try it. I call it systematic massive action. I didn't make those words up individually, but I sort of made those words up when you put them together. Systematic massive action. And that's where you talk to all your clients. One of my mentors, it calls it one to many instead of one to one. I'm asking you for a one to one tomorrow. Today is a one to many. So those are the things that I will teach you how to do. Um, you know, my story, and like I said, I started out as an elementary school teacher. I wound up teaching in a college. Then I wound up with a New York life insurance company, and then I realized that I needed to have access to all the products in the industry. and that meant I couldn't stay with the New York life. And then I got into estate planning. I started building attorney relationships. I started doing veteran planning. I started doing estate plans, and I wound up where I am right now, which I'm back to teaching and doing. And I only teach what I know, and I only teach what I do. So, we have lots of big plans for the future, and I will tell you that you guys are here, but at the rate across from Atlanta, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and Nashville alone, we are getting 25 to 30 applications an hour to be taught how to do this. That's how thirsty this industry is to not be a final expense salesman, or not be a Medicare salesman, or not be an annuity salesman, or not be a life insurance agent. You can sell it all if you have the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, and you will sell it at the time it's right to sell it. So my mission, I'll tell you, I don't care what my mission is I want to teach as many financial services people how to do this as I can for the rest of my life, as long as I'm working. I want young agents. I want agents that are ready to retire and want to make a run through their clientele base one or two more times. It doesn't matter. I want people that want to make $1 million a year. But my true goal is to help people consistently make $20,000 a month as a starting point. I want my goals to be congruent at about that level. So if you can't see yourself making that much, talk to me. I'll probably convince you that you can. I'll show you how easy it is. But you do need to have the goal of making more money than you're making right now. So, and again, I'll teach you what I know. I'll teach you what I do. I'm going to come over here and look at this next screen right here. We have a sales model. And I wrote a book about this. I call it Approach, Plan, Succeed. And what I've learned that is, if we can teach someone how to do a proper stress-free approach, their income will tend to go up because they'll have more appointments. And to do that, we use another process that Greg Davis is here with us. He will teach you the cycle of success, which if you follow that model, any financial services person that wants to use me as a coach, if we follow that model, I can isolate and identify whatever area you need to work on the most, and we will work on that and get rid of it, because it's a pain point. And the reason people don't do those things is because it hurts to do it. And so we solve how to get rid of that pain so that you can go right through it. And that's when you start building momentum. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be using the cycle of success. We're using my book, Approach, Plan, Succeed. We'll be using role models of people that we would introduce you to that know how to make the back end sale, that help you design everything that you need to do. So anyway, if you said, "Hey, I want to do this," you might want to have a question. What does a typical day or a week look like if you work with me? And I'll tell you right now, best place to start is at the beginning. So we're going to take a look at what you're doing with your day. And the first thing I'm going to start looking for is how to get rid of non-income producing activities and add income producing activities. But I don't want you to learn a lot. I want you to learn one approach. I want you to learn one go-to first interview. I want you to be able to know that I give you an agenda for your sales presentation that you give to your client so that everybody's on the same page. I want you to know that you get the right data collection sheets that you need, that you get the complete sales presentation, that I even perform it on my website at randallbaxter.com. I do the presentation for you. I give you the script. I also will show you what the power phrases are, because there are certain power phrases inside the sales presentation that make people that make them do things that I call micro commitments. And if I get 5 or 6 or 7 micro commitments from a client in the interview, and they're shaking their head yes and looking at each other and talking, they're going to buy the estate plan from me. They're going to adjust their estate plan. They're not going to walk out the door uh, uh, knowing that they have to go to probate court. And a lot of times when the people I talk to, one of them's got a couple of medical problems. And inside my sales presentation, if I show them that that medical problem they have is not properly funded and how that's going to leave this healthy spouse in a bad spot, do you think they're going to say, no, we don't want that properly funded? I don't think so. They won't do that. And they won't do it because they love each other. And so when people come into my office and they go through this process and I draw their family tree for them, it looks like fifth grader did it. It's okay. It's just a family tree. They start putting their finger in those circles and say, this is the person I want to represent me if I'm on that table in the hospital unconscious and the doctor doesn't think I'm going to survive. This is the person I want to handle my money. This is the person that I trust to distribute things the best way according to my wishes. And people want that. But you know what? The reason they don't have it is because they never got around to it. They never went down to the attorney's office. They never got it. They didn't wake up that morning and stretch their arms out real tight and say, I'm going to do my estate plan today. Nobody does that. But once you start leading them through the process, they become grateful and thankful and so relieved that someone has the skill to do that and sell it to them at a very affordable price and teach them how to properly fund it. Folks, that's the answer to not being a product salesman anymore. That's the answer to when tell me, people all the time say, hey, I do infinite banking. Well, I say, well, that's great. But what if you approach somebody about infinite banking and they're not interested? What do you do? But you can always talk to them about infinite banking and how it might fit into their estate plan. Always. You might talk to them about the difference between an annuity and a mutual fund. And annuities aren't perfect. I only use them if they work. And they work most of the time if you find the situation where somebody has to have a lifetime income. And that's, how many estate plans can be properly funded without knowing that they're not going to run out of money. So my first sale in most cases is the income sale, the income review. So and I'll teach you how to do that. So the family tree asset positioning sales presentation is easy to learn, easy to use, and I think is worth a minimum of $20,000 to $25,000 a month additional income on whatever you're making. So, and I work with a lot of people, but I do run into financial services people who are not willing to make the sacrifice. If you go onto my website, you'll see that in the financial services business, there's about 4 different groups of people. There's the people that, if you had 100 of them, you'd find about 33 of them are on the bottom, and they're never going to come off the bottom. They're going to make their expenses each month and never make more than their expenses. And it's because they're either happy there or they can't see themselves being anywhere else. I'm really not looking for those people. If you're in that spot and want out, I'll talk to you. But I'm looking for that middle group that knows that they're hardworking, but there's a piece missing that they want to find, that they want to learn what it is. And they'll use their own initiative. They'll grow. They'll take what they learn from a mentor. And I'll tell you one thing about a mentor. A good mentor can only take you as high as their knowledge. And once that mentor can get you up to that level, they need to be willing to hand you off to another one. This is I have mentors, and I have them in so many different layers. I know that if somebody gets up to where they're doing what I'm doing, they want to do more, I'll say, well, you need to go talk to this person. This is the person that I go to for lessons. So anyway, my job is to unlock success for each individual agent. And to do that, we have to have a conversation. We have to talk about where you are and what you're doing and who your clients are and what your mission is and what your health status is and what your relationships at home are, so that what your house payment if you want to know if you're struggling with that. I can show you how to fix that, all that. So that's what I do, uh, you'd be surprised at how low the cost is. So our career opportunities, and when I remember I told you a little while ago that I let you design who you want to be and tell me what it is you want to do to change your life, and how what I have to sell, the family tree asset positioning sales presentation, can do that. We can do that for you folks that want to be in the entry level position for absolutely free. Because I know that people come in on the entry level. If they're people that I decide I want to work with, I'll convert them. They'll become whatever it is they tell me they want to become. But some of I didn't. I started there. I did. I started there back with New York Life. I'm not there anymore. I'm a business person, and I want to. If you come to me and say I'm a business person, I want to learn, I'd say, great. We don't need to start you at the entry level. We need to bring you in as a legitimate licensee with our software, and bring you into our sales training programs, and we'll do that. There's a couple ways to do that. There's actually 4 ways to do it, because there's 4 types of estate planning companies. The first thing is I call it my bronze plan. It's a $49 a month to have the software, and $100 to get all the training that you can do it in one weekend. And then if you make your first sale in 60 days, I give you your $100 back. I don't want the $100, but I don't want to spend time with people that want something for free and don't see any value in it. So we charge $100. We charge free, and if you say you want it, I'm going to give you our 30-day email training program, and you won't have to commit to us. You won't have to sign any contracts. I will sell you the book, the Approach Plan Succeed book, if you want it. But I'll tell you a secret: if you take the 30-day email program, the book is included in lesson 1, so you can have it for free if you want it. But the advanced training, I call it advanced training spoon fed. That's what the email process is all about. But if you want to be a licensee, you might want to take the $99.95 training course, because you can get the whole training process in one weekend. And then if you get that sale in the first 60 days, I'd be surprised if you didn't get it in your first 20 days or 10 days. Then I'll write you a check for whatever you paid for that training program. I'll refund your money. So, but you can become a licensee for $49.95. If you want to save $100 a year, you can pay the license fee at $495 a year. And what you get is a decision tree attorney written software program with coaching, with training, with access to me every Tuesday at 3 o'clock in a group session. I call those group instruction and drills. And anytime you need a private appointment where we just need to sit down and talk, you just make an appointment with me or Greg or Jay. And the reason I'm saying these other names is they have departments that they specialize in. And Greg will teach you the cycle of success. Jay will teach you the sales presentation. I'll teach you all of it. I'll teach you the cycle of success and the sales presentation. There's just not enough of me to go around. So I have to have people that want to grow, and people that can take the ball and say, hey, I'll do the cycle of success, or I'll do the sales presentation for people that need to learn it. So we're in the process of expanding. I will tell you that 140 licensees, I'm just not happy with that, but I haven't, we've only been working on this about 2 full years. My mission for the end of this year is 1,000 trained estate planning licensees across the United States. And the reason I picked Atlanta and Knoxville and Chattanooga and Nashville is because I'm just a homeboy, and I know this area. So this is where I want to start building from within. And I'm thinking we're going to get 200 more here in this area. Atlanta could probably handle 1,000 easily. But I don't want them to just have a license. I want them to be well-trained licensees that know that being a well-trained licensee, just all it does is create the front-end sale and set the stage and open the door for the back-end sale, and let you have an inventory of future sales that could last for 20 years. Because you know what happens when somebody buys an estate plan? They get married, they have children, they get divorced, they retire, they die. and money moves around. And I think if you're in the financial services business, I think you probably have seen that when money moves around, you get paid if you do it right. And if you're competitive and top notch and know what's right for your clients. And you don't have to hurt your client. You don't have to overcharge them. You just have to you just have to make a diagnosis and write the proper prescription. That's what the Family Tree Asset Positioning Sales Presentation does. So here we are. I want to talk to you. I can't talk to you on the Zoom call. I'll answer some questions if you want to. I'll let you unmute everybody here in a minute, Lisa. But if it's something that you want to pursue, then Lisa's going to put in the chat box the link to the one-on-one interview, and we'll make an appointment. And I don't bite, and I won't force you, and I'm not going to pressure you. I'll just talk to you about what the opportunity really does. I'll show you the sales presentation, and I'll help you decide if your market would accept you in that situation. I've had some people I've told no to because they didn't have a market. I don't know why, but they just weren't proper. And I don't bring people in that aren't congruent with our company goals. So if you want a one-on-one, a scheduled 30-minute call, you may get me, you may get Greg, you may get Jay. More than likely, you get me if you make your appointment today or sometime tomorrow morning. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. So Lisa, if you'll put that in the chat room, and if it's already there, okay. But then if you want to go ahead and open it up, if you want to open it up to where people can ask some questions, I'll take some questions. Anybody got anything they want to ask?
The link's in the chat, and they can just raise a hand if they have a question.